Welcome to the Inc. Productivity Tip of the Day. Today's tip. Emotionally intelligent people use the 3-question rule to get and give better advice. An expert opinion by Bill Murphy Jr., founder of Understandably. Jeff Hayden had a great take recently on the difference between advice and feedback. If I can summarize his distinction, asking for advice is about unpacking what you're doing and looking for ways someone else might suggest improvements. Asking for feedback, on the other hand, can be more like asking someone to grade your performance and let you know whether you've achieved your desired outcome. It's well worth reading the entire column. I'm grateful because it gave me the chance to think and share a trick I've learned that emotionally intelligent people use both to get and give good advice. Let's assume your goal is advice, not feedback. How do you get past platitudes and easy answers so that you're either getting or giving real potential value? As psychologist Veronica Tate puts it, ask at least 3 questions before offering suggestions. 1. How can I best help you right now? 2. What else can you tell me about the predicament you face? 3. What advice would you give to someone in your situation? Tate's take seems geared more toward interpersonal advice. In fact, the example she uses comes from the flood of unsolicited advice she saw on the TV show Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. But the same principles seem to hold in business advice as well, regardless of whether you're asking for advice or being asked for your expertise. Investor and entrepreneur Daniel Gross had a great take on this a few years back, suggesting that advice givers in business often want to be helpful, but they're also probably very busy. The giver isn't really thinking about your business, they're pattern matching. The giver will often give you the advice that comes with the most cognitive ease, the simplest advice instead of the most correct advice. As a corollary, the advice giver isn't likely to spend a lot of time asking questions. They're more inclined to offer quick thoughts, more like feedback in fact, and move on. Ultimately, the goal of an advice giver who truly wants to be helpful might not be to offer solutions as much as it is to spark a moment of insight on the part of the advice asker. This is really the key emotional intelligence insight. After all, it's the advice asker who has the most information, and ultimately it's the advice asker who is responsible for actually making the decision. As a result, I've come up with a whole host of all-purpose questions to ask in almost any context, or even to ask yourself when you find that you're the one looking for advice. Among them, what do you think you should do? Pretty close to one of Tate's suggestions, I concede. What do other stakeholders want you to do? Instead of stakeholders, maybe use specifics. Customers or your investors or even your parents. What's the worst that could happen? If nobody else's opinion mattered, what would you do? What data or facts would help you feel better about your decision? What's the deadline? Is there a way you can push the deadline back? What happens if you simply don't decide? Finally, who else are you asking for advice? Even if these questions don't work for you in a particular situation, I hope the point is clear. When asked for advice, make it your default setting to ask questions. And if you've asked someone else for advice and you want to judge how good their suggestions might be, start by counting how many questions they've asked you. From an emotional intelligence standpoint, asking questions has the added benefit of making it clear that you're interested in what the other person has to say, not just hearing yourself talk. On that note, let me take my own advice. Faced with a chance to leverage emotions in order to make it more likely you'll achieve your goals, what do you think you should do? That's going to do it for us this week. But you can find more great articles from today's top business coaches and industry leaders at Inc.com. Enjoy the weekend and be sure to check back in on Monday for another tip from Inc.